if you're thinking about living in an RV, it's not always campfires and waterfalls. There will be some regret. And we have now officially hit our 5 years of living on the road.
And during those 5 years, we've received thousands of questions from you guys. And if you want RVing to be a dream instead of a nightmare, we pulled out 5 of those questions that we feel like you really need to answer before you hit the road. What's up, fellow journeyers? I'm Nathan.
I'm Marissa.
And we're Less Junk, More Journey, where our #1 goal is to help you let go so you can get going on your next adventure. But should RVing be your next adventure?
We asked Team Journey on Patreon, what are your biggest questions and concerns about hitting the road full time?
And I love how Melissa, Joey, and Alex, kind of to kick this off, their question or concern was actually the fear of what you don't know that you don't know.
Because that's so true.
Yeah, because maybe even like before we started RVing, we thought we knew our concerns, but then as we've gone along through the years, we learn, oh man, there's more things we need to know about.
#1 is, can I live in a small space? I know that was one of my #1 concerns. Will I go crazy? Will we drive each other crazy? We did not know what life looked like in a small space or an RV.
Yeah, and this one question sort of bunches together some other questions. Georgiana just said storage, like
my stuff.
What do I do with my stuff?
Yeah.
And that was a concern of ours as well.
Mostly
Marissa, but
Nathan,
it was still a concern.
Some people are really energized off like decluttering and getting rid of things, and it is very emotional for me. It's very emotionally draining. So that was a concern, as well as, okay, if I live in a small space, that means that I'll have to get rid of quite a bit of stuff.
And I kind of I don't want to say I like this concern or this regret, but this one is maybe easier to tackle than some of the other questions we've got, because this is one you can actually practice ahead of time. We also had Chasing Our Dreams said one of their concerns was internet. So yeah, if you're living in your home, you probably have your nice, stable, plugged in, wired, super fast all the time internet. Well, you get on the road, it's a little trickier. But the good news is, internet is one of those things. Decorating is one of those things. You can practice downsizing. We took our 4-bedroom house, turned it into a 3-bedroom, and started practicing what it'd be like to live in a smaller space. And you can keep downsizing that space and organizing your stuff. And you can as well, I know sometimes you might look at RVs and say, man, that just doesn't even look or feel like a home. You can actually change RVs and decorate RVs, right?
That was something that was big for me, is whatever I live in, I want it to feel like a home. And that has definitely kept us from feeling a lot of burnout, is just feeling at home in my space.
So some of you guys might notice we've done summaries on our usual place that we sum up and talk, and you may see this little hint of a different color behind us of what's going on. So what we've done is we actually bought this couch, put it in our RV, and it is amazing how much this transforms the feel of the RV into more of a home. And I know your question, because you're like, well, you guys were just looking for an RV. Why are you buying a couch and putting it in this RV? Well, we kind of sort of already bought this couch to go in the other RV. And then we had the couch, we're like, man, we loved it.
We thought the other RV was a done deal.
We kind of thought it was a done deal. So when you see the couch, know that. But we love it. And I hope you too, when you see this, it just feels more homely. You can change the feel of an RV drastically by changing something like the couch, the paint. But yeah, it was a lot of fun getting this couch into the RV. We had hauling it in and angling it. But you can take, this is not a special custom RV couch. This is just a couch. I'll put the link and all the information below. This is just a couch you can order, and you can put regular house couches in an RV too. You want to make sure they fit. This was pretty tight, but it did fit. Dust.
I have to wash my truck again.
Well, they said water crossings. I didn't think it'd be.
You didn't think it would be in the water?
No, I didn't think
crossing
it'd be
in the water?
2 feet deep, at least.
Those reviews are so dramatic.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try the rocks.
You gonna go for that one? No, no, your sandal, dude. Oh no. It stopped. It's hung. You'll notice the white truck behind me that was probably irritated. It was getting dust on it. Was Corey's truck. Finding our someday. I'll get him focused here in a minute. Come off me, Cannon. There we go. The second question we get all the time, as far as like, could I possibly regret RVing if I don't think about these questions, is how can I afford it? We get that question more than anything, probably, don't we? We don't have an hour and a half to talk about all the different ways to make money RVing, but because I know it is a very hot topic, it's an important topic. But I think a great resource, RVentrepreneur.com. Heath and Melissa do a great job over there. He's got a podcast. He's got all kinds of resources if you guys are interested. And that's what he basically does, is interview people who make money on the road.
Yes, because it comes down to skills as well.
Yeah.
We all offer different skills, and so, you know, that is honing in on what are the different ideas and what your skills are.
It's good to get ideas on how people make money on the road, but definitely don't bypass how you can take what you already know and already do and maybe see if you can make it mobile, or maybe you can take, you know, some skills you have and maybe pivot just a little bit and make that a different kind of income on the road.
Or maybe it can be something completely different. Like we had no idea that what
Yeah,
we would be doing as far as YouTube and filming our life would turn into something later.
The other side of the equation, which I think is just as important and it's overlooked, how to save money. It's not just saving money to get on the road, it's how you save money once you're on the road. I'm gonna say these guys are like, they're the experts, man.
I mean, if you're trying to do it on a budget, you cannot go to an area and do everything. You have to pick, you know, one thing maybe.
And getting on the road
be good with that. And there's plenty of free stuff to do.
Getting on the road is not going to instantly and miraculously change how you spend money. So how you live in a sticks and bricks house is going to be pretty similar to how you live in an RV as far as how your budget goes, how much food your family eats in a month.
Same with regular habits. The stuff
Right.
you like to do for fun, you're going to take it right with you. You might change a little bit, but don't think getting on the road is going to be like this big breakthrough lifestyle change.
Yeah, living much cheaper.
Seems like it's almost, you can save a little bit more, but it depends how much you plan on moving and how fast in your style of camping. So definitely keep those things in mind as well. The less you move around, the cheaper it will be. I think just having the mindset that it's a lifestyle and not a vacation. I feel like when we hit the road, we were in vacation mode, so we did want to see everything, do everything, try every restaurant, every excursion. And we quickly realized that that could not sustain our budgets.
Marissa's convinced she needs to get on this tree. Let's see how this goes.
Why is this not being filmed right now?
Oh, I got it. That's it. Show me what you got.
I thought if I lay flat, I could turn it.
You turn the leg sideways, it's good.
Yeah, it doesn't look as bad as straddling it.
Hiking sandals.
Wow. Check that out. Wow. Guess that's why they call it window cliffs. That's awesome.
It's so cool.
So the third question we get a lot, and Cheryl asked this in some different ways, but she says, how do you keep close relationships with family and friends? Do you get lonely sometimes? Do you feel like those relationships are not as strong now? Essentially, if I want an RV, will I feel lonely?
I think for me, the answer is yes, absolutely. I do have times where I get lonely, especially that first year on the road. The first year on the road, we were new, we hadn't made any connections,
and it was just really difficult. We didn't know how to seek out relationships on the road. My biggest piece of advice is to get involved, get connected. Once we started getting in groups and doing rallies and events, then we started meeting people. And after being on the road for 5 years now, we re-meet those same connections. The relationships are different. It's different than your sticks and bricks house. I feel like relationships have to move much faster, and you dig in super deep with these relationships. I feel like things I've shared with people I've met on the road is stuff that I haven't even shared with like close friends back home before.
I think in a home, you don't have to be quite as proactive because maybe you already go to work, you're already interacting with the same people, and you develop those over time. So on the road, I feel like you do have to be a little more proactive to develop relationships, but don't feel intimidated by maybe you meet someone, you connect really fast, and then it might be 6 months, a year before you meet them. It seems like things just pick right back up.
Absolutely.
And I think too, this is several of these you can practice this now. You can go ahead and start joining forums. You can go ahead and start connecting with people. And who knows? You just never know when you'll see someone again when you connect with them. But will you feel lonely? Yeah, you could. But do you have to feel lonely? I would say no, you don't. You do have to take a little bit of effort on the road, maybe more so than in a house.
I mean, we've met people all over the country, all over the world that we wouldn't have met otherwise if it wasn't for traveling. I mean, like our friends we're hiking with today. I mean, that relationship would never have been there if it weren't for traveling. I think another thing that's really helped us keep those close connections with family and close friends in our hometown is having a home base to come back to. That isn't something you necessarily have to do, but I will say if you are a person that is an important aspect of your travel, or establishing a church connection when you come back to your home base, our kids having their regular friends when we come back, so all that has kind of been helpful on our journey.
Good. I'm good.
Question number 4 is, can I, or how I, or should I, or do I even want to drive/tow an RV? Because I'm not gonna lie, like, so we've had a, I don't know what, 28-foot travel trailer and 30-foot travel trailer and 38-foot motorhome, and now 41-foot fifth wheel or whatever. Like, the bigger the RV you get, the more likely as you're parking it for people to stop what they're doing, get out their chairs, and come watch.
It becomes a spectacle.
It is like
an event.
Look at this 40-plus foot RV trying to cram into the state park side over here. So everybody's coming out because we're trying to get into those sites sometimes. But it can be intimidating. Marissa's pulled. See what you drove the motorhome, right?
I drove the motorhome. I drove the Airstream.
Yeah.
But I have not yet got up the confidence to try this thing yet.
Well, I mean, there's multiple angles of why this makes us all nervous. I know Quicksilver left the comment, how can you learn the clearances of bridges, underpasses, to be sure a tall rig can take that route? I mean, you've seen the nightmare footage of somebody pulling into a gas station and being too tall, or trying to go under some sort of overpass and being too tall, and you're like, I do not want to be that. And we've the Airstream even, we've had multiple things happen, but the Airstream, we went down a road and there were either I read the sign wrong or something, and we had to actually like back down the road and go up somebody's driveway at an angle.
A very steep driveway.
There are things you can do. You can get an RV GPS, you can map things out, Google Street View, Google Maps, you have your your navigator with you trying to make sure these things don't happen. But yeah, it can be nerve-wracking. But I am going to say, I don't think it's as intimidating or as bad as you think. It's, to me at least, it hasn't been as bad as maybe I thought it was going to be in the beginning.
Just had to get a little comfortable. We practiced in a parking lot. It's just, with everything, it just takes a little bit of practice, and then the comfort comes with that. And maybe even starting out small until you gain your confidence.
Yeah.
I feel like we went really large with the fifth wheel coming from the home.
So we went from home to tiny trailer to 43-foot fifth wheel. The 43-foot fifth wheel was,
yeah,
was a lot.
like I feel like we were a little stressed out, and And I could tell a huge difference when we went from our large fifth wheel to the Airstream. Nathan just had this weight lifted off him, and then that gave me confidence. When he got confidence driving it, then I got confidence, and I told him, I was like, I can just breathe easier. Over the years, he gained his confidence, and we worked our way up, and I think you've been more comfortable this time than the first time.
Yeah, this
I can
one's
feel it.
just under 41. The other one was 43. So I mean, the other one was longer, but yeah, it just doesn't seem as bad as our first fifth wheel. I know this was taller than that sandpiper we had too. So that's all I can figure out. Just over time, this is kind of the thing I think with the towing. Like, you got so much that's new all at once. I mean, you're planning your routes, you're figuring out your RV, how it works, where everything's at, you're figuring out where you're gonna go, you're trying to figure out how to work together with your family, your partner, and everybody around you. All these things are coming together. How do I get fuel? You know, you've got these things you're figuring out along the way, and you add the length and the stress of parking on top of that.
Just the smallest you can comfortably travel in, and then just get comfortable with that space and work your way up. Everybody's got to start somewhere. Even the men and women you see driving these big rigs, semis, large RVs, like, they all had to start somewhere.
So question number 5, and again, these are 5 questions. If you don't ask these, you may end up regretting RVing. It's better to ask them before you start RVing and kind of figure out what you can. But question number 5 is, what if I don't know or don't want to know how to fix an RV? Maybe if the maintenance side. Now, if you love fixing things, I had somebody say one time, my husband, he'll get too bored RVing. I'm like, hey, no problem. You just
he can tinker all he wants.
You get you a 10, 15-year-old RV and he's good to go. He will never be bored. Let's face it, there's going to be maintenance with an RV. Now, you might be doing the maintenance, the RV repair shop or the dealer might be doing the maintenance. Somebody's going to be doing the maintenance, and it can be intimidating. I know the question we got, Bruce says, reliability of the equipment is the thing I always struggle with, and I'm more of a weekender than a full-timer. I know we had our motorhome, and it's not this bad, but I even said like ticking time bomb, I guess. It's not really. It just seems like at least so many motors, so many things working together, so many things that are making tiny little noises when you're using the slides and the awnings, and then you're like at the stairs, and you're like, oh man, is it gonna be okay? The motorhome, I guess, was easier to drive, and that released some stress, but then I kind of got some stress back as far as maintenance, because there was just more to maintain on the motorhome than, say, a travel trailer. Is this what I gotta be filming? Dude, if you hear that tiny little noise in the back, this is Corey over here. Everyone's like, forget that, let's just watch Corey cook.
It can definitely be a frustrating part of the RV lifestyle. It's not if something breaks, it's when something breaks. It's just gonna happen. But I think over the years we've learned to just have that be part of the journey. It's all about our mindset. I think being able to want to know how to learn is a good skill too. Yeah. I mean, just being able to look the little things up and watch some videos and do it on the fly. But I feel like to us, just saying it's all part of the journey. Every time something breaks or goes wrong has really got us through those hard times, and as long as we can stay positive, then we can get through that together and just learn and grow from it.
Having a home base has helped with repairs as well, because if you have repairs, sometimes you have repairs that, like, okay, yeah, your tire blows up or your slide won't go in, there's repairs that have to be done, like, it's just got to be done. But then sometimes there's things that, like, doors aren't closing the right way, or maybe the floor's got something a little bit, you got things going on that, like,
little projects, I guess.
Yeah. And so if you have a home base, or if you want to do some upgrades, and maybe you do want to fix up the RV to feel like more of a home, we like having the home base, because once we get back to our home base in Tennessee, we know where the shops are. I'm familiar with the diesel mechanics. I know how long it's going to take. We have a address where we can have stuff shipped there for parts and things like that. We don't feel pressured, I guess, if we're in, let's say we're at a campsite and we've got 3-night reservation. Well, you got 3 nights. You got to be able to get your mail. You got to be able to fix it yourself. You got to figure it out. You got to go somewhere and get it fixed and bring it back. It's a lot. It's a lot sometimes.
It's a lot on the road.
Some of these things we thought about beforehand. Some of them we learned the hard way along the way. But for us, ultimately, even though we knew the journey could get tough, and the journey did get tough sometimes, we just ultimately decided we don't want to live a life of what ifs.
I think the biggest regret, the biggest what if, would be not giving this lifestyle a try. That's where we were at. We had all of these questions, and then probably 1,000 more, just like you guys. The what ifs can be very overwhelming. What if I hate this lifestyle? What if I'm not cut out for this? What if it's not for me? What if? But we essentially just thought the worst what if would be if we looked back on our life and thought, what would life have been like if we had tried it? Would we regret not giving this lifestyle a try?
Sometimes the biggest risk is taking no risk at all. So, I mean, are you taking a risk by living this lifestyle? Yeah, you are. But man, the payoff, it's incredible. It really is. And I don't think we don't regret a moment of it. The good, the bad, the ups, the downs. It's been a real growing experience.
So we hope you guys found this information in this video helpful. We just hope to inspire you, encourage you to start your own journey. So we love you guys. We hope you have a great week, and we'll catch you guys later.
See you guys.
Get it out!